I'm not going to say that there's a door open for an athlete to step in front of Gabriella right now, but it's certainly not locked.
Megan Potee from Noblesville High School with a score of 268.85. She's just a sophomore coming into competition here this afternoon.
Wonderful athlete. Also golfing more throughout the year than diving. She's a 4-month out-of-the-year diver and does an absolutely tremendous job. This is a very well-performed back 1.5 somersault with half twist. Arched her back and went a little long on the finish.
Couple of 5.5s for her. Megan Potee, 307.70, her total now. Places her within the top 8. Augustino still at the top.
We are beginning round 2 of our 3-dive finals. We have Catherine performing a reverse 1.5 somersault in the tuck position. Great midair position. She really performed a great tuck. She kicked her legs out a little bit early and arched the dive around slightly short of vertical.
Judge number 7 scoring her at a 4.5. Next up, Chelsea McKean as, again, we go through the second round here. Mark James and Sean McCarthy at the Natatorium on the campus of IUPUI here on IHSAAsports.org. The 34th annual Girls Swimming and Diving State Championships.
Chelsea receiving rather low scores indicates that the dive was significantly short of vertical and she didn't get full extension into the water. That was a front 2.5 somersaults in the tuck position. It's a very high degree of difficulty because there's a very good chance of error and you have to complete that dive well over the water in order to get an extension.
Will we see the scores tighten up a little bit? Will we see them drop some in this round?
It depends. Some athletes have hidden a dive that might be inconsistent skill for them at the end. Other athletes have saved their best dives to the final rounds.
Whitney Adams of Danville High School
this
coming
is
into round 10 with a score of 314.
A complex back 1 somersault with 2.5 twists. It's a busy dive. There's a lot of activity in the air. And it's often the athlete doesn't completely square out and stop the skill as they hit the water. This one went in the water kind of like a corkscrew as she entered the water.
43.20 the total for this round, 357.20 for Whitney Adams. Thrust her to the front, but again, the rest of this round and then a third round to go.
This is a beautiful back 1.5 with 1.5 somersaults, a tremendous amount of degree of difficulty, 2.5, as compared to the 2.6 dive that Gabriella performed in the last round. If the judges like this dive, we might see some forward movement.
Chrissy Riley from Pendleton did total 41.25, giving her 368 and thrusting her to the top of the leaderboard for the time being.
We've seen quite a range there in the scores. They go from 4 all the way to 6. It seems like most of the judges were favoring the 5.5 range.
Natalie Grissom of Franklin with a score of 275 coming into this particular round.
This is a fast reverse 1.5 somersault tuck. She jumped well. She went for the dive and completed it well over the water. As she came out of the dive, she moved her head instead of her legs. The legs are usually a pretty good air brake to help stop the dive.
4s and 5s primarily for a total of 28.35, giving her a score of 303.35 through round number 10. Next up, Natalie Grissom, a junior from Franklin High School.
I think this young lady, last diver, I believe, was Natalie, and right now we have Gail Susdorf.
That's right. This is Gail Susdorf from Fishers. Thank you. Sophomore with a score of 293.05 coming into this round.
That's about as big a jump as you're going to get out of a sophomore in high school. A tremendous midair pike position. She's completely folded in half. If anything, the judges might take off for this dive going a little over.
They range from a low of 5.5 to a high of 6.5. Pretty consistent scoring across the board after round 10. 43.20 for Gail Susdorf of Fishers. Her total now 336.25, and that puts her at 4th on the leaderboard as we speak and sets the stage for Mariah Kiefer from Homestead with a score of 284.25 coming into this round.
Mariah did a nice job with this dive. A reverse 1.5 somersault in the pike position is a difficult skill. Pike being a more difficult position than tuck, and rotating backwards off the board. It's always more difficult to find the entry on a dive that's rotating backwards.
Scores ranging from 5.0 to 6, giving her a total of 38.40 for the round. 322.65 the point total for Mariah Kiefer of Homestead.
I'd say that scoring was a little bit conservative for a reverse 1.5 pike that went in vertical.
Kate Hillman up next from Shenandoah High School. Her score 308.10 coming into round number 10.
We haven't seen too many successful front 2.5s here in the final rounds. This one finished over the water, however, not fully extended. She rolled by the dive slightly.
From 4.5 to 5.5, the range of scores. A couple at 5.04, in fact, giving her a total of 36 even for the round. Her total now 344.10. Kate Hillman of Shenandoah. Next up, Sarah Clay from Hamilton Southeastern.
Sarah's got 2 rounds now to open up that door and see if she could move forward in this contest from second place ranking.
Nice round of applause from the Royal Blue-clad faithful across the way here at the Natatorium, waiting on the scores to pop up again. 324.24. Add to that 42.50. Scores ranging from 5.5 to 6. All staying in that category. 366.80 for Sarah Clay, vaulting her to second on the leaderboard.
I believe both Sarah and Gabrielle are going to perform the same final dive, front 2.5 pike. And with their scores being so close, it's going to come down to whoever puts that dive in the water. Christina showing a front double here. She's a junior in high school. She's been at the state meet before. I believe she's been in the state finals before. A front 2 somersaults in tuck position, not that much degree of difficulty, but as we've seen, could be more successful come out than the front 2.5.
Scores ranging from 4.5 to 6. After round 10, her score 327.15 after a score of 36.30. That puts her at 7th currently on the leaderboard and opens the door for Jamie Curtis of Fort Wayne Northrop, junior.
Front 2 somersaults in the pike position. This has got slightly more degree of difficulty than performing in the tuck position. However, it's a little more difficult to make the dive around. Body rotates a lot slower in the pike position, and it requires a lot more angular velocity generated from the diving board.
Her total 34.50, giving her a score of 307.30. That Jamie Curtis from Fort Wayne Northrop. Next up, Madeline Miscullen from Valparaiso with a score of 310.25 coming into round number 10.
This was the same dive done better. A front double pike, finished over the water, and a better extension for the entry. We'll see some higher scores here.
Judges agreed with that. Certainly, Sean. A couple of scores at 6.04 at 6.5. Good round for her. 43.70. Her total now 353.95.
Madeline's essentially a second-year diver. She dove lessons when she was, before she got to the high school age, suffered a, I think an injury in gymnastics. I want to say a growth plate injury, and has joined diving as of her sophomore year.
Jessica Squires from Centerville with a score of 317.95 coming into round number 10. Jessica, a senior from Centerville. Her scores ranging from 4.5 to 5.5, giving her a total of 35.65 for the round. Her total now 353.60 through 10 rounds.
These seniors are having a tremendous competition today. All 5, I can't say enough for their competitiveness and their success on the diving boards today. Jessica's having an equally wonderful competition today.
North Central junior Ellis Walters with a score of 305.25 coming into round number 10. Waiting on the scores to pop up. Ranging from 5.5 or 5.0, we should say. Judges 2 and 3 with a 5.0, along with Judge 7. Her score for the round 36.80. Her total now 342.05. Gabriella Augustino, your leader, coming into competition today, just a couple of divers away. Matter of fact, she's up right now.
We got a reverse dive in a pike position. Very well performed jump, great balance and connection in the air. Straight up and down, a little bit heavy on entry, not your typical rip entry that you'd expect to have on a voluntary, meaning the water makes a ripping sound without any splash when you contact it.